This is Patito's Gang, and today the subject is election campaign finance. Now, it might seem like a routine subject matter, but it's anything but routine. And one of the reasons that Nigeria is not making progress, in my opinion, is that the political space has been shrunken, literally. And many people who could give value to Nigeria cannot enter the political space because we made a terrible mistake. We didn't get a hold of how campaigns are financed. And, well, as it turned out, in 1999, those who broke in met a rise in oil prices, gonna shade, if you will, the Commonwealth, and used it to erect barriers to entry into political life. These barriers to entry essentially significantly are around what people spend to get elected. So those who can give value look at it and they say, why bother? And so Nigeria is stagnated, Nigeria is standing still because those who can serve, those who are willing to serve, are too frightened by campaign finance to become involved. Is that smart? Well, I don't know. I am sometimes quite dumb, but I'm surrounded by much smarter people here. Maybe they can find it smart, and then we can proceed from there. So, what's the challenge?
Well, a former student of mine in the master's program did a thesis which I supervised about this campaign finance with the 2011 or so election in mind, and it's quite mind-boggling to know it was 2015 election, and the amount of money that was spent from 1999 to 2015. I mean, 2015 alone is bigger than from 1999 to 2011.
Yeah. But in fact, what would challenge me if I were to supervise a thesis of nature is, what is that study capturing? Because you can capture how much is spent on advertising, you can capture how much is spent on all of this.
Yes.
How do you capture how much you give to warlords? How do you capture how much you give to party chieftains?
Yes.
How do you capture how much you give INEC? Mm-hmm. How do you capture how much you give security agencies?
Yeah.
A very, very senior politician said not long ago in my presence, he said, look, you can spend anything you want, but the real campaign money is the one you spend the night before with all the people who are involved in the process.
That's right.
Yeah? He said, if you run out of money before that, you've lost the election. Forget what you spent before.
But we have a check for this. We just don't apply rule of law. So I know that a few weeks ago, INEC said that for the 2015 elections, all the parties are meant to render returns on the use of funds for the campaigns, and that only 2 parties had rendered returns, and those parties were neither APC nor PDP.
I was one of them that made return. My party, SDP. We had to make returns on how much we had spent. So we filled out from the documents are there, which if followed, we checked some of these things.
But did you render the return to the returning officers?
These are mentionables.
The return to the thugs.
These are unmentionables in politics.
They'll make that point with plenty of zeal. I think, seriously speaking, fact, like you said, those who went in there in 1999 virtually shut the door. Okay? And those who came in and who were supposed to begin to tender and begin to, in a manner of speaking, restructure, have failed to do nothing. Because precisely the 1999 Constitution was amended, sections 222 to 229 was clear about party financing. Specifically, section 228 was clear about rendering returns. Nothing has been done about that. I'm not happy that the national assemblies, the various national assemblies that we've had since 1999, have done virtually nothing because they have supervisory role, to check. But they haven't done, all I see that they have done was to just amend the Electoral Act in 2002, 2006, and then 2010. And 2010, they were putting, a cap limit to presidential elections to be 1 billion. So the Senate 40 million.
Spend.
Yes. 40 million.
200 million for
200
for governorship, yes.
And then for House of Reps, 20 million. And then state
but-
houses, 10 million. Now, this is outside
Of
what part is
the
talking
unmentionables.
It's consultation.
Consult-
Consultation.
about. To carry people along.
yes.
Yeah, but when you have a law and there's no penalty for breaching the law, what's the point? So if you breach, first of all, that law is not monitored. Where it is monitored, it is not obeyed. Where it is obeyed, there is no penalty for breach. So what we've said implicitly is the election goes to the highest bidder. Wherever, however, there was a court case where somebody donated, I think it was $30 or $40 million to PDP, and the case went to court that it shouldn't be afforded. And the court, one way or the other, ruled that what someone donates is fine. And so once you've done that, you have simply said that the electoral process is up to the highest bidder, irrespective of what the law says. So anybody who's there that wants to keep his office will invariably find a way, either through fraud, corruption, or theft, to get as much money to stay in office.
Isn't that something, doesn't that say something very important about term limits? This economy will be saved a lot if we prevent people who are currently in office from running again, because they bleed the system in order to run again.
Yes and no. Yes, it will do that, but if we uphold and enforce the law, then this. So what we tend to do is, because we cannot uphold and enforce the law, we find a way to circumvent and create a different process.
Yeah.
If we uphold and enforce the law, then this issue of term will not even come up.
Interestingly, more than 20 years ago, the great Claude Ake, an economist called Chichi Ashwe, and myself had really incredible debate on this very subject matter at the NIIA about whether, reducing limiting terms to prevent incumbents from running again will help the democratic process or not. And it's a subject that still fascinates
But
me.
look at Russia. That's what would happen. Putin comes in, so you just keep exchanging positions. So it won't. I don't think it would change.
No. Yeah, I think it will do a whole lot to the economy. This five-year tenor or 6-year tenor will really, if you have run any election and know the costs of
Then
running that election.
When you step aside, your son goes in. After 5 years, your son steps out. You come back. Exactly. They'll just rotate it.
But the culture,
exactly.
your culture can develop in a way that says, no, we shouldn't allow this. Look, ICANN, if you are in ICANN, your turn will come up. If you are second vice president, there's no second term, you do one term, you are gone. It's become part of the culture of ICANN.
So we need that kind of political culture.
Because really, and I have several reasons. In fact, I have made this point several times. Somebody who is served in government for 3-4 year terms, whatever levels, and has never stepped out for 2 years and comes to come back and continues into a 4th straight term, whether elected or appointed, is a social parasite.
And a jobber.
Because really think of it, Nigerian government, this is no brainer. It's not the most intelligent place to use the brain. Let's be honest. Let's not deceive ourselves. 20 years of not using your brain makes you totally atrophied.
Yeah.
Makes you totally obtuse. Like Zil says, I don't know why I'm on the side of Zil.
Because you're serious.
Seriously speaking, I like the example of ICANN that you mentioned. Quite utopic. I'm a member of ICANN, and it has served us well. It's not throwing a jibe at other professions where you begin to throw chairs and then you see what's happening. However, the limiting factor to some of this will be when you are a man of ideas, and ideas are going to span a period that's going to be more than 4 years, then you are limited to trying to rush that. Somebody else comes in,
you see,
abandons that idea that you initially brought.
That could be taken care of. It will be taken care of if a system that you have a vision and you have it mapped out, and then you leave.
Manifesto, that's what it's called.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we don't have that either.
No, but when you have that,
We
and then
don't.
it runs, the next person comes. Government is a
continues.
continuum. Yes,
Yes.
government is a continuum. It took care of that.
And you can go and come back.
Yes.
Look, I keep talking about the governor of California today, Jerry Brown. When I lived in America in the 70s, he was governor of California. He finished his term, went away, became a local government councillor, alderman. 40 years later, he's back as governor
Oh,
of
right
California.
now.
Current governor of California.
I
Jerry
like
Brown.
to ask you, can that happen
In my days,
Can that happen in Nigeria?
well,
Once you are out,
in my-
the door is shut against
Yeah,
you.
because-
They will
By the
ensure
way,
you not
you know,
come back.
I like-
Especially if they know. They know for
let me
instance.
enjoy this for 1 second. I like talking about Jerry Brown. You know, in our days, he was called Jerry Moonbeam. He used to date Hollywood actresses, you know. Linda Ronstadt was his girlfriend.
Yeah, okay.
Great, you know. And Jerry was called all kinds of names. And then he left the job, went and became an alderman. And 40 years later, he's back as governor of California.
After 40 years.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that I think we need to learn here. If we are driven by service, if the motivation is service, then it will not matter that.
There are too many
you know,
ifs. There are too
Well,
many
yes,
If our parties have ideology,
We must
if
have
we are
ideology.
saying- if
We must
there-
have structure.
but,
We must
all
have
of them,
process.
all of them
And we must
belie,
have discipline.
all of them belie a simple fact. We have laws we are not adhering to. So making new laws will not solve it, because that's the issue. We are not adhering to laws.
Okay, let's adhere to one law of Patito's gang.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take a break. And when we go on the break, we'll hear from the people, we'll hear from the streets, because their voices matter. When we come back from listening to them, we'll ensure that the rule of law truly upholds here. We'll be right back.
When the government is seen that way, it will be reduced. The number of people that are just striving to get there.
I describe that as misplacement of priority. We have a lot of things pending to do with our budget. So, and that 27 billion naira for upcoming election is out of range. We can use the money to empower the Nigerians unemployed youth. So, to the best of my knowledge, so we can empower youth. So there's a scheme going on, Empower. They promise to choose like 500,000 youth, but at the end of the day, we discovered that only 250,000 were selected. So which is abnormal. So why not increase that range to 1 million youth? Because and that money being reserved for election is our reserve, so we can use it to empower youth.
And we are back. This is Patito's gang. Now, we've heard from the streets, and we want to ensure that the rule of law upholds here. Now, one law that we know about regarding campaign finance is that if we do not have order to what you can do with money, you will have public office for sale. And when you have public office for sale, you can mortgage a society. Currently, in Nigeria, the budget process is a big mess. And part of the reason it's a mess, let us be honest, is that politicians are trying to abuse it for financing their campaigns. This is taking away from growth and development in this economy. So, are we running a democracy that is government of politicians, for politicians, by politicians? Or are we having true representative government where the budget process is about serving the common good of all? How are we going to retrieve governance from campaign finance?
Now, Prof, it's good that you mentioned this budget. Now, when any party takes over, the first budget is to actually recoup what they spent to get into office. The last year of their tenure, the last into their tenure, the third year or the last budget they will do, is to prepare for the second tenure. By virtue of that, we just have about 2 years of budgeting to do actual projects, provide this info.
In fact, I know a state government
Yes.
that is currently drawing down fixed deposits, all kinds of things of that government in the banks, monetizing so that they can be...
And you see also them going to the stock exchange to do bonds. Or we have to do this bond, we have to do that bond, and just to finance the elections.
But all of these things point to one deficiency which we have refused as a nation to fix. It's accountability. If we had proper accountability and the laws were enforced, none of this will happen.
And I would say,
you understand? None of it will
plus
happen.
accountability plus structures. Now look at the political parties. Finance 101 tells you, if you say you have a political party, what is your member? Do you have a membership law?
Yeah.
Now what is
What do
the
people
structure
contribute to members?
at the world level?
Yeah.
As a
They have
matter
that
of
actually.
fact, as a matter of fact, look, each political party is supposed to have structures at the world level where people are answerable, where people donate, where people, okay, for instance,
The major parties have
it was even
that.
it was alleged that the APC
That's cross party. Mind your
No,
language.
I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him to finish.
ahead of the convention coming, asked each of the governors to bring 250 million. Quickly, the party apparatchiks quickly said no, that did not happen. Oh, we need funding from members. But where is the structure? And the same happened with PDP in the previous regime. Now, I always say, apart from budgeting, Prof,
I hope you have your evidence.
well, what happened? There is a rule and there's a structure in the financial circle that says for you to open an account, even as individuals, well, of course, as corporates, you must undergo the SCUMO, the Special Control Unit, for money laundering. So that donations that are made to you, especially when you are making extra budgetary spending, when an MPC cannot account for certain things, and when MPA cannot account for certain things, and the master cannot account for certain things, it's structural, and the accountability will be, where is this money coming from? They know your customer indices are in breach.
I think we're more concerned about where is the money going.
Where it's coming from?
Where it's coming from. So when we have accountability and people take money and spend money and you must render proper accounts, you find that your ability to collect from random sources and distribute randomly gets
It's
removed.
limited.
But even as a nation, in our constitution, or by our laws, maybe it's not constitution, but by our laws, before any government can spend money, you must appropriate into law your budget.
Of course.
It behoves all common sense that subsequent to that, you can appropriate another budget without giving account for the previous one. It doesn't make any sense. Even in the corporate world, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, if you are quoted, 90 days after your year end, you must render returns.
The rules are clear. The Electoral Act of 2010 says 6 months after an election, each political party is supposed to render returns.
How do you? No, let's
sure that has happened with any political party, including yours.
No. I'm an exemption. I did my own, whether the party submitted or not, but I
Was
did.
it audited?
Of course, now everything is there. If you see INEC document,
2 parties out of the 60 something.
no.
days.
If you check INEC's document, it's a hard thing. But again, like the unmentionables, Prof talked about, the one you give to INEC, the one you give to all these people to make sure to facilitate the process.
4,000, the 3,000.
Now you don't account for that. It's just
What do you
majorly
do?
advertisements. advertisement and you account.
Yeah, but it's true. We have to account for something that's inside the loaf of bread.
You're accounting for the disbursement.
No.
You're accounting for your bank account. If
Yeah.
1 billion left your bank account, you cannot wake up and say we can account for 300 million.
No,
we can't account
but
for
there was a
this. It can't
point.
be audited.
There was a point Prof made initially, which I would like us to go back to, starting from 1999. How did we miss it? The elite, after from the trenches, Prof, you are included, Prof, because you people took the back seat and allowed these characters to come in to hijack the process, and then elevated the entry barrier.
It's one of the biggest judgment errors of my own time of being, I have to admit. The concerned professionals and the fight against military rule, and then when the army took off in 1998, there was a general thinking that the traditional politics will return, the politics of the times before. And if you go back, really go back, I think we had Onyeka Onwenu on one Patitos Gang panel, and she went back to the times of her father, who was a school principal.
Yes,
And went campaigning on his bicycle or whatever it was. In the 60s, yes, political games played here and there, but on average, the accountability was so high in government and in the political party system that there wasn't any frivolous use of monies. And people got elected and gave service and all of that. It was a citizen legislature. People came from wherever they were, stayed in legislative flats there, made the laws, went back to being the farmers or lawyers or whatever they were, and Nigeria was properly run.
Breaches were sanctioned.
But yeah, I
openly.
mean, I still remind people, Ambassador Fafora, Dr. Fafora, reminds us often of a minister who was traveling and had a breakdown in his official car, went to a mechanic, paid for it, came back on Monday, submitted his claims. And the permanent secretary, looking through the date from the mechanic, found that it was a Saturday, and queried why the minister used official car on a Saturday. And Balewa was under pressure to remove the minister for using official car on a Saturday. And this minister was very close to Balewa. And Balewa had to call a committee of PAMSEX to appeal to them. Look, this is political damage to me. I can't. PAMSEX insisted. The minister was demoted and sent to a smaller ministry. That was the list for. This is Nigeria, the same Nigeria.
So what happened?
Imagine what Balewa would have done if he forged that receipt.
Now to forge receipts, your ability to manipulate the system is celebrated, and then the electorate wait for you.
So what happened in Nigeria is the same Nigeria.
I will use a term used by one American that we run a plutocracy. Government of the rich, for the rich, and by the rich. No poor man goes into, into politics now because he cannot afford it. So that is.
So where's the voice? I mean, our friend Stephen Covey says that the most important habit of the 21st century is helping people find their voice.
Yeah.
So how does the poor have their voice elevated?
No.
How does the challenged, the marginalized have their voice
heard? I think civil society, I think us, I like that catchphrase that came after 1999 or first, when you said never again. That never again should we continue to mark on the same spot. Never again should we have dancers, okay? And those are the people that will be legislating for us instead of doing the right thing. And so never again should the voice, should the voice of reason, we should encourage women and the underserved, okay, and the physically challenged to take part
in public
politics,
life,
by ensuring, I know some parties try to do that, ensuring that entry level monies expected is way for them,
But when we deal with those, what should we call them now, face things of money for form, this, that, and you come down to the fact that the people who vote expect to be given money. You come to a place, that man, he doesn't spend money. He doesn't spend money, how can you be running for election, doesn't spend money.
It's hard to divorce this. So it has to be a much more robust discussion because one, you can't divorce this from the poverty levels in the system.
That's
we
right.
can't divorce this from the fact that those poor do not benefit from real governance. And so the only
Yes.
benefit they get
It's what they can
is what they
extract.
That's right.
ab initio. So it's a vicious cycle, and that is the reason why I keep saying, if we do not enthrone accountability to prevent this money from passing in cash, so that the politician knows the only way he can please the poor is by building social infrastructure for them. That campaign issue of distributing money affects their ability and reason for producing social infrastructure.
Because-
so it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
We have to cap it somewhere.
I keep saying this, that what the politicians do, they take advantage of the poverty of the poor.
So it means the politicians have an interest in people staying poor.
Yes.
They have the
That's
benefit.
the only, yes.
It's in the interest of
It's,
politicians people to be
it's
poor.
deliberate for
The
them to hold the poor
the
down
age- the age
so
of
that
the
they
day-
can,
Okay,
1 naira, 2 naira,
we have to
and all
change.
that.
We have to change that
Yes.
kind of politician.
We have to get back
Um,
to the age of
But people talk about pressing a reset button. What does it really mean to press a reset button? Say Nigeria needs to start afresh. This thing is not working. Where does that reset button come from? Do you kill all the politicians? Do you drown them? Push them into the Atlantic? What do you do to them?
The politicians are a subset of Nigerians.
Yes.
Right.
So the
So
next
what crop?
I'd rather say we start with the right attitude,
Okay.
leading by example.
Okay. The right attitude and the example that we must find now is to go away. See you.